I've been thinking a lot about values. It's a word politicians love to use. We need to get back to the values of this nation. But what does that actually mean? Right now, a lot of the national conversation is focused on immigration, cultural tension, and pressure on our systems. But I honestly think most of what people argue about are symptoms and not the root issue. The deeper issue is this: we're no longer clear on who we are. And when identity becomes unclear, pressure exposes it. From a Christian perspective, Jesus did two things at the same time. He radically welcomed outsiders, and he was crystal clear about how we are called to live. That's the tension that we've lost. Open hearts and yet clear identity. Because here's the truth: diversity is only a strength when it's built on unity. You can build a house with lots of different materials, different walls, shapes, designs, but if the foundation is weak, the whole thing cracks. Let me make it personal. In my family, we're all wildly different. Different personalities, different habits, different ways of doing life. That diversity creates tension, but it also creates joy, laughter, memories, because we are united around shared values. In our home, we value things like passion, relevance, inclusiveness, creativity, excellence, devotion. Those values don't erase our differences. They give our differences somewhere safe to belong. Nations are no different. So the real question isn't how do we stop diversity? The real question is, what are the core values strong enough to hold our diversity together? Because when values are clear, people know what's expected, people know what it looks like to belong, and there are consequences when those values are ignored. Not to control people, but to protect a culture worth being part of. And this matters more than ever, because in the next 3 to 5 years, AI, economic pressure, and global instability are going to increase tension everywhere. And if we don't know who we are before that hits, we'll fracture under the weight of it. So we need a foundational conversation. What is our national identity? What values define us? What does it actually look like to live them out in a way that a 6-year-old can understand and a 96-year-old can model? Here are 10 things that values do. 1, values unite people who are different. Values emulsify. They can bring two seemingly incompatible types of groups together. Number 2, values create distinction. Like the notes on a piano or ingredients in a kitchen, the core elements themselves may be constant, but the way they are combined produces something unique. The same values expressed in different proportions and priorities create different cultures, identities, and outcomes. Just as the same notes can form entirely different melodies on a piano, and the same ingredients can become very different meals, values create distinction. Number 3, values create freedom through boundaries. Freedom isn't the absence of fences. Boundaries are essential for growth. Barriers stifle growth. A canvas is a boundary. It doesn't restrict an artist. It gives their creativity a place to exist. Number 4, values turn consumers into contributors. When people share values, they take responsibility, less bureaucracy, and more ownership. When people have the mindset of contribution, then less government and management is needed. When you hire a person who is in alignment with the clear core values of your organization, you are less likely to need increased levels of bureaucracy to check that they are working long enough and hard enough. Number 5, values hold power accountable. Values become the referee, not status, not wealth, not position. Values are about shared power. Values are no respecter of people. In recent years, trust has been eroded when people within positions of power give rules to others but do not keep those rules themselves. When we have core values, we make them our referee, the adjudicator, the umpire, and agree to mutually submit ourselves beneath them. Number 6, values shape laws that bring life, not control. Rules without values can oppress. Rules built on life-giving values create liberty. Number 7, values lead to measurable outcomes. Values shape outcomes because they guide everyday decisions, which turn into consistent behaviors and long-term results. In families, a value like open communication can lead to children developing stronger emotional intelligence and healthier relationships. In our personal lives, valuing health influences habits like exercise and sleep, producing measurable physical and mental well-being. Professionally, valuing customer service drives behaviors such as responsiveness and quality improvement, which show up in higher satisfaction and retention rates. In this way, values are not just beliefs, they are drivers of actions that create observable, measurable outcomes over time. Number 8, values are non-negotiable. Whether someone is an existing employee, a new recruit, or a person joining a country from a very different culture, belonging means agreeing to live by shared values. That's why core values are vital in recruitment. They help filter out misalignment early. Hiring in desperation to fill a gap often leads to greater cost down the road and disruption later. Strong cultures require people who champion the values and are committed to actively protecting them. Every individual brings a set of values or a lack of them that shapes the culture around them. Nations do this too. The process of becoming a citizen should clearly communicate shared values and act as a filter with consequences for everyone when they are not upheld. As DeMille said, it is impossible for us to break the law. We can only break ourselves against the law. The same is true of values. We don't break them, we break ourselves against them. Number 9, values cost something. Values require sacrifice. They can't coexist with a mindset of anything goes or purely self-focused living. Upholding values has a cost, and that cost can test our commitment to them. This is where vision matters. The picture of a better future must be worth the sacrifice. Without vision, our willingness to live by values quickly fades. And finally, number 10, values build legacy. At the end of our lives, people won't talk most about what we owned or what we achieved. They'll talk about who we were. Nations have legacies too. So maybe the conversation the UK really needs right now isn't first about policy. Maybe it's about identity. Because vision is about the future we want to build. But values are the vehicle that gets us there. So here are the questions I want to leave with you. Which of these points stood out most to you and why? What core values do you think the UK or your nation should be built on? And are those values strong in your own family, workplace, and community? Because national culture doesn't start in Parliament. It starts in homes, in conversations, in everyday choices. And in the next video, I want to talk about how you can become a cultural catalyst, someone who helps rebuild strong values right where you are.